Welcome to Balahdan, a show with an accent for those without one. We all hear Bill Maher crusade against Islam. And I don't know why Christians, Americans, paying attention to an atheist view of religion, especially when he talks about Islam. He was actually here in the Twin Cities. He was visiting in Northfield, and he has a show over there. And our guest today, Bill Sorem, he's a citizen journalist. He is really in the places where nobody else goes. And usually mainstream media shy away from these events. He doesn't. He's been doing this for years. He works also with the optics. Welcome to Balahdan, Bill.
Thank you.
And I know you
privileged to be here.
Thank you so much. This is your home. This is your home. I know you went to Northfield and you saw Bill Maher's show, and I know it was election and all that. But let's back up a little bit and talk about his crusade against Islam and his argument that the liberals are being soft on Islam, and Islam is violence and evil. We should talk about it and all that. And that's fine. That's his show. He's a comedian. He can say anything. He uses this to get away with a lot of things. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a comedian. I'm not a. But anyway, but when he comes to our town, now I take it personal. He's not out there sitting in New York or whatever. But now he's in our town, and I didn't have a chance to go there. Take us through what was going on there, what you saw and what you heard, and audience and reaction and all that.
Well, I've been a fan of Maher's. I think he's funny. I think he does some very incredible things. His anti-Islamic bent is sickening, disgusting. A number of people have taken him to task for it, and it really didn't have much to do with his visit to Northfield. He came there as part of a flip a district campaign to get rid of corrupt congressmen, and his process, which was...
Did he succeed?
Yeah, it was John Klein was selected as the worst congressman in the country, so he came to Northfield, which is in his
celebrate that.
yeah, and this was before the election. And actually the mainstream media some of them were there, not all. Mm. And we were allowed to record 7 minutes of his show. Mm-hmm. But I got there early and talked to people in the crowd and had some fun with them. And I fed one woman, you must be from Northfield. And she said, oh, yeah, you betcha.
That's it. You don't have to see ID there or there.
And I think that was for real. And he came through, walked through a coffee shop, and I asked him the only question that the media got asked that day.
Really?
Yeah, I said, are you registered to vote? Or are you registering to vote?
Yeah.
Because they had a registration. He said, well, that wouldn't be right. I registered in California. That was the only interchange with the media that whole day. And his show was, on John Klein and the Congress, and he had the Republicans and the liberals to speak. In fact, Steve Swigum commented the former Speaker of the House said, well, your ideas maybe, John Klein might not play well in Hollywood, but here in Randolph and Nerstrand and Kenyon,
Oh, wow, what a smart guy.
Anyway, it was his comedic best. But and I didn't stay for the whole thing. After my 7 minutes were up, I said, well, I'll go back home and edit. Yeah. And
And we have that for this. We'll show
he did not. I wasn't aware of any of his anti-Islamic.
It wasn't mentioned. Was brought up there.
No.
Not an audience.
The show last night. On the other hand,
he's been doing this.
He just keeps on going, and I think it's a nasty blindside on a.
But he keeps on bringing it up.
Sure.
And it seems like he cannot get out of it.
Yeah.
And now he's goes. But let's talk about how, the major comedy shows, political comedy show in the last 20 years or so, like Jon Stewart, now Bill Maher, and now we have John Oliver. They drifted from mainstream media and came on cable, HBO, whatever, and they use comedy as a platform to talk about politics, and probably some of them, Jon Stewart, most trusted news source.
Politics is pretty funny.
Yeah, but they bring the irony also, other things.
Yeah, and they've been able to say and report things that the mainstream media can't. You know, 6 corporations own our media outlets in the country, and newsrooms, which once were a pride of a show, have become another profit-making venture, just like prisons and everything else.
Where do they make money?
But the comedian, in a comedic sense, you know, these people see things that maybe the rest of us don't. They twist. And to me, that's the real exciting part of today's journalism. Is you go? I lived in Washington D.C. for a short time, and the slime in the streets, pretty bad. But the so-called journalists there sit there, and they're stenographers.
They're almost humorless. The same thing, and the headline is similar. The same format, same school, same.
Words pass through uncontaminated by human thought. You know, whereas the comedians, and there have been many really talented people, enjoy words and see things in them and twist them. And in that process, they really illuminate what's going on. Jon Stewart is an incredible source of what's going on in the news world.
Yeah.
And
but somebody was saying, in Jon Stewart and even Bill Maher, until he came to be activist in Northfield, your job is really raising awareness, making fun of Washington. And that's it. They never went to the next stage, which somebody was analyzing this, what John Oliver is doing. Actually, he calls on people to action. And do this, vote this, send letter to this, and all of a sudden 500,000 people will follow. So activism in that sort of format of comedy is not really well established. I mean, Jon Stewart still works for a corporation.
Yeah,
and some.
But I think there's what they're doing is illuminating rather than activating.
Yeah.
And in illuminating in a way that a lot of other people can't. That's what I enjoy about the kind of things I do, because I don't pretend to be unbiased, but I do pretend to let people say what they want to say.
What a concept.
Or I stick a camera in their face and essentially say, what do you want to say?
Yeah.
And they say very profound things.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And that I let pass through. Jon Stewart's new movie, I saw the preview of it, Rosewater. Yeah. That's an incredible job.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and it shows a journalist who endured 137 days of solitary confinement in Iran.
Yeah,
and was told when they released him, "Now don't you ever tell anybody about it." So he started writing a book on the plane on the way home.
No good. Violation.
And so they made a movie, and it's a very powerful story. And I won't tell you the ending of it, but the ending is absolutely priceless.
It's a documentary?
Yeah. Well, it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
It's essentially a documentary. Yeah. And they filmed it in Jordan, and but the ending is incredibly hopeful. And the other thing about citizen journalism today that we can't be stopped.
Yeah. Too many of you guys.
Well, and this little contraption has changed the world.
Everybody has a camera.
It's the most popular camera in the world.
Yeah.
And when you record things and you see this, you look in the students, the people in Mexico and Spain and all over the world, these mass demonstrations, and you see the iPhones up there, and they're recording it. And it's it has become impossible for the establishment, for the state, to completely suppress it. That doesn't mean they don't try.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how they're dealing with journalists in this country.
Well, Occupy Wall Street Journal. Occupy Wall Street, we don't, they don't
Occupy
cover it.
scared the hell out of them.
Yeah, but the mainstream media will not cover it. I mean, that's the thing.
Well, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
But the thing is about now citizen journalism. People self-reporting, everybody's reporting, and it gets out of hand. There's so many out there.
Right.
So how you sort through all of this?
Well, you use your own judgment. And sure, the internet has spawned incredible amounts
you don't
of
know
lies
the
and
reliability of
distortion.
it and all
Sure,
that.
but that is so much better than having a Paul Joseph Goebbels deciding what it is we see.
Yeah, too few networks.
Yeah, and that's what evolved out of the communication system.
Yeah.
Of the control of what you see. The state has to control what people see and what they believe. They try to control what they believe. In the today's, it's a morass, But so you pick and you look and say, that makes sense, that doesn't. I'm not so sure there's an absolute truth.
No. I mean, of course. You have to form it yourself.
Truth is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah.
And to me, it's far more important to allow this to happen, to allow this, this deluge of information to come out. Than it is to restrict it. And of course, that's the problem with net neutrality. The powers that be don't want to have that to happen.
But cable came that way. And we say no advertisement now. It's like corporate owned.
Yeah.
Aren't you afraid the internet is going to be the same thing? It is now?
It could be, but again, this little thing is so powerful. And if the internet is shut off, we have a bunch of young, incredibly talented communications people who are going to figure out ways around it. I mean, there's Edward Snowdens all over the place. Smart people that say, no, I'm not going to follow your stupid rules. And
well, let's stop for a few minutes here. We want to see your coverage of Bill Maher visit to Northfield, and we'll come back to the studio. We'll talk to Bill Sorem, citizen journalist. So see you in a few minutes.